Pokemon plushies. Very unique way to start this, however, I do want to talk about my fascination with not only Pokemon plushies, but very specifically Unova Pokemon plushies. Black and White is where I started my journey playing any of the video games, collecting any of the plushies, going through and getting the toys, but in recent years, plushies has definitely been my biggest motivator when it came to being a collector. And in Pokemon Crystal recently, I defeated a full Nuzlocke using only Pokemon that I have actual plushies of. With the unique detail that if I don't have a plush of an evolution, I cannot use it. Using Black and White for an example, I can use this little guy, however, I do not have a Galvantula plush, hence I won't be able to use him and evolve him at least. But I set out in Pokemon Black and White, specifically a Black version, trying to see if I can complete this very hard Nuzlocke with these very specific rules, running with the Pokemon plushies that I currently have. So join me today as we go through the full Pokemon Black version Plushlock movie. If you guys enjoy it, please like, and subscribe, it'd be greatly appreciated, and I will see you guys at the end. I have been waiting for this for so long. Hey everybody, my name is Batu and welcome to the Pokemon Black version Plushlock. Now, if you are new to my account, I actually did a Pokemon Crystal Plushlock recently and we actually defeated it. So now, I think it's time that we move on from the difficulty of Generation 2 to the difficulty of Generation 5. Because my favorite game in all of the franchise is right here. And that, my lovely viewers, of course, being Black and White. So we're going to start with our intro. As we keep on going through this, I'm actually going to explain what a Plushlock is, because if you didn't see Pokemon Crystal, you probably would not know that. But a Plushlock is a Pokemon Nuzlocke of whatever game you might want to play. However, with the rule set of a normal Nuzlocke, I'm kind of doing hardcore rules. I'm just kind of keeping at the limit of the actual gym leaders. However, my other stipulation is as long as I have a Pokemon plush of it, I can catch it. That means whatever amount on the roots I could catch, but that kind of gets stifled by the fact that I need to have a Pokemon plush of it to actually evolve it. That meaning, say I have a Oshawott plush, which I definitely have a lot of Oshawott plushies. I can keep on going because I have a Dewott and a Samurott plush. However, another example is if I have a Joltik plush, which I also have a Joltik plush, then I sadly can't use Galvantula because I don't have a Galvantula plush. So it's gonna really be adding a bunch of more difficulty to the game. But now we get to pick our starter. I already put it right there so you guys can see. And while I would love to use Snivy, and I would definitely love to use Oshawott, I think there's only one bright option for me for the reasons that I'll actually explain a little bit later that we get into the game. You probably already know this if you've seen my collection videos, but if not, it will definitely be explained to you guys a little bit later. But we're going to start off with our first battle against Bianca. And after defeating her, we are able to finish off with that first battle, making a huge mess of our room. And now Sharon's going to want a piece of us. So we got to share Sharon exactly what we have in store for him for the rest of the playthrough. My poor little Oshawott, we had to knock him out, but you know what? You just got to get through this little part. And now that we defeated them, we're going to leave and go find Professor Juniper. I love the beginning where it's either Woobat or Repeat-Up. That's so amazing. After talking to Bianca and her dad, we can actually go over here, talk to Professor Juniper, and she's actually going to let us officially keep the Pokemon and allow us to nickname them if we would like to. And I decided on the name Jax. Now, if you don't know, my first line of plushies that I have is Jax specific. So I feel like Jax would be a really cute name for this little Tepig right here. And as he evolves into a Pignite and Emboar, he definitely gets pretty Jax. So that's going to be a very good part on our collection. Now we're going to be in Route 1 where Juniper is going to show us exactly how to catch a Pokemon. Not like I need it though, I'm going to be honest, I'm a Pokemon Pro. Sadly, I could not get any encounters because I have no Patrat or Lilliput plushie. So that's where it's going to be a little bit difficult. Because sadly, a majority of the Pokemon here in the first few routes before the gym leader, I can't get. So that's going to definitely suck. However, we're going to make our way through. We're going to listen to this strange man who ends up being called Getsis spew some actual words of knowledge. Honestly, the evil team Plasma is honestly probably the best they've ever done with a villainous team. they actually have a reason to fight, and the fact that they can actually be a little bit more difficult when it comes to, are they on the right side, are they the wrong side? Pretty cool. But next up, we're going to meet this guy who ends up being named ends up being named N, and we're going to fight his Purloin. Luckily, that's the only Pokemon he has on his team at the moment. I think we're going to be seeing a little bit more of this guy in the future, but after going through the next route, we are able to continue. We meet up with Bianca, and Bianca wants to challenge us to a new battle. A new Pokemon she actually caught is her Lillipup. Very cool to see. I guess she has a Pokemon plush of Lillipup. I certainly don't, so I couldn't get one myself. But after knocking out that Lillipup, she brings out her main Pokemon, the starter Snivy, and it's going to be a pretty good cakewalk for us, luckily. We weren't able to one-shot, which definitely sucks. We're going to be taking out some power, and instead we're going to have a little bit more bulk for Tepig, but we're going to keep on keeping on. We're going to go over here, which ends up being the Dream Yard, and after defeating a few trainers, we could talk to this lady, and this is the reason I picked Tepig. I don't have a Panseer, and I don't have a Panpour plush, but I do have a Pan Sage plush. We're going to name him Jungle Gym. If anybody knows the reason I name him Jungle Gym, please let me know in the description. I would love to see if anybody understood that reference. But now that we have a brand new Pokemon, we could actually go and battle Sharon next. And I actually made sure to get this Pan Sage before I battled Sharon. So we're going to have his Oshawott versus our new teammate Jungle Gym. Now, sadly, I don't have a Semi-Sage plush, so as soon as it becomes a little bit more difficult to use Pan Sage, we're probably going to have to swap him out or something like that. I don't know, though. We'll figure that out as soon as we can. But he is able to defeat Oshawott. Again, my poor little baby taken out. But it's okay. One day we'll get Oshawott on a playthrough like this. Next up, he's going to send out Purloin, who we're just going to Ember. Assist right here was very scary, considering that the Purloin actually got Water Gun. That was definitely the most terrifying I've been in a little while. But we were able to defeat Sharon after a few more Embers. He actually gives us a few Oran Berries, which we really appreciate it. And after that, we can officially meet up with Gym Leader Silent. Cannot wait to challenge him. So we're going to get through here. And after defeating a few trainers and doing this little puzzle, which I really like this puzzle, although I keep on forgetting about how it's supposed to be, whether it's supposed to be greater than or less than in effectiveness. But now we can officially challenge Gym Leader Silent. But it turns out there's 3 brothers here, and I gotta take out the one that my Pokemon starter is weak to. So that means we're gonna be taking on Gym Leader Crest. I have not taken on Gym Leader Crest in so long, because Oshawott is usually my Pokemon teammate that I pick. And as well as that, we have Snivy, was the last one I actually used on my Instagram playthroughs, which feel free to check out my Instagram as well. I have a lot more plush content on there. But after defeating Lillipup, we are going to probably have to switch out to our Pan Sage. So Jungle Gym's going to come out, and even though I didn't level him up, I am still very confident in this little guy. So we are going to Vine Whip and take him for a little bit of damage. Not as much as I would hope so. Probably leveling up to 14 was going to be a better idea. But, you know, we got to just keep on going through with these Vine Whips. We were unable to actually one-shot him, or I should say kill him. And so we're going to have to do a few more Vine Whips, which is kind of scary. However, even though he is about the middle of the way for health, we were able to get the victory. That Oranberry proc definitely helped us out for the long run. I'm very happy about the fact that we were actually able to defeat this gym leader without losing any Pokemon, because we have a very limited amount of Pokemon that we can actually use, especially ones that are going to be very useful for the time being until the end of the game, which is definitely going to be the goal for here. But yes, that is going to be it for this first part. I usually put these things in parts and then release it as a full movie. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Peace out. Everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pokemon Black Plush Lock. Now, if you don't know what a plush lock is, I talked about it last episode, and as well as that, I have a whole series from Pokemon Crystal that I did. And now that we've finished with Striaton Gym, we can actually walk out here. We're going to meet a strange scientist, and going in here, we're going to be offered to go into her house. Kind of weird, considering I think my character is like 15 in the game, but you know what? We're going to get cut. Also, very weird thing to give a 15-year-old. But it turns out we're going to be helping Fennel with some research, so we're going to go to the Dream Yard. Personally, my favorite place almost in the game. I love this place, mainly because of the encounters here and just what happens in the game. But once coming in here, we're going to see a Munna. And then Team Plasma is going to be coming over here, and they begin to beat on the Muna? Very, very weird thing for a Pokemon team that say they're about protecting Pokemon. However, we're going to have to battle them either way. Starting out, we're going to actually take on this Patrat. And after defeating them and the other Team Plasma member, there's going to be a weird occurrence with their leader, Ghetsis. Now, it took me a few years to actually learn that the Musharna was the reason behind Ghetsis. As a kid playing this game, I never really realized that, so it was very cool seeing, literally a few years ago, whenever I replayed these games, even though I've replayed them a lot, it was a strange occurrence. But we're going to get a few new encounters here, luckily and thankfully. We're going to be able to find a Muna, and then as well as that, we're going to find a cool occurrence of a Musharna, which is only a 5% encounter, but that's not what we needed. We actually needed an Audino, which we actually end up catching as well. So now that we're done with here, we can actually leave Striaton City after talking to Fennel a little bit more, getting some other portions that really aren't going to matter in this game mode. But we're going to be challenged by Sharon again, and we get to take out Charlotte. And now I spelled Charlotte's name with 3 T's, so she's either going to be called Charlotte or she's going to be called Triple T from now on. But yes, we do take on and defeat the Oshawott. And as well as that, next, it's time for that Purloin to come back out. So we're going to take on Purloin. And it should be a pretty easy venture. However, that water sport was kind of scary in the beginning because that means it lowered my fire moveset and actually the power of it. But we're just going to keep on fighting the Purloin. Tackling is going to be decent enough to actually get us through. With Tepig being the physical attacker, if it's not going to be Flame Charge, Tackle is probably going to be our best way to go. But as soon as we do that, we're going to see some actual grunts running around. So I think we should go help them. Bianca's also going to be helping this little girl with what they need to get done. Before that, we got a few more encounters. That being Freddy the Blitzel. And after catching Blitzel, we can move on to another special encounter that we can get in this grass. And I'm super excited to get as well. I love this Pokemon, that being Peanut, the Pidove. A lot of people don't like Pidove, but I do really enjoy it. Some people also don't like how I pronounce it, but we're going to add that to the group. So we're actually going to go in here as well, and we get a few more encounters before we battle these guys. I don't think I include the actual battles between these guys, because it doesn't really matter, nothing really happened. However, first off, another favorite of mine in this region, the gift to grab Roggenrola. And as well as that, we're going to find Redacted the Woobat, which we are able to catch as well. So, like I said previously, we are going to actually fight these grunts with Sharon, defeat them, and then after that, we get to add Drillbur to our list of Pokemon we get to catch in this area. I really love Drillbur. I have the Jack-specific version of it, and even though I don't have Excadrill, I do know that this guy is going to put in some heavy work. But here is our team. We got Dream, we got Charlotte, Jax, we also have Muppet, newly editioned, Toph, and we have Monty. And now we can officially move on after we evolve our Tepig into a Pignite. I got that off screen while training a little bit. A lot of people actually don't really like Pignite, which I kind of don't understand too much. But nevertheless, we are going to catch up with N one more time. A new battle before we go into the second gym. He is going to start out with his Pidove. We have a Pidove ourselves, however, just not on the team at the moment. That's okay. I think that Monty's going to be able to easily take this little guy out. And then next up, they are going to go into their Dynamo. I also have a Temple myself on the team, so that's really nice to have. And we are going to, of course, switch out to Dream. I honestly don't have anything that could really handle any water types at the moment, but you know what? One Psybeam from Dream seems to be enough to actually get us the victory. Even though we are confused right now, we are actually going to keep on with our Dream, just because Psychic is going to be easiest way to take out these fighting type Pokemon, and with that, N is defeated. I always like the idea of N actually having Pokemon from the same routes that he battles you on, just based off of him catching them and then releasing them right after back into their homes. It just kind of makes it feel like his Pokemon aren't actually his Pokemon, but more of his friends. I consider our Pokemon our friends too, but you know, it's just a bit. Probably not the best commentary for you guys, but it is time to go into the second gym leader battle. If we go over here, after defeating all the trainers, we talk to this final little bookshelf, and it is moving. I am so excited for this battle. This is honestly the scariest battle I think they have in Generation 5 when it comes to gym leaders. It's definitely on the Whitney level for me, so this is going to be a very, very scary battle. We take on Lenora. And although Lenora is very annoying, I do really like her as a trainer and as a character. But now with our new trusty Pig Knight, we can continue on the battle. Herdier is going to take some damage with some newly learned arm thrusts. And we're actually going to be able to knock it out pretty fast. However, Super Potion actually stops it from being knocked out as quickly as I had hoped. But we'll just keep on going with those arm thrusts, and not much we can do. Arm thrust is a very powerful move whenever it's in the beginning of the game. As we get later on, if we keep Embor and we keep Pig Knight, it might kind of lose some health. But after that, we go into Muppet, and we two-shot that Watchog. That was actually insane how much damage that was. No retaliate, no hypnosis, just an outspeeding by Muppet. I really like Sawk. Sawk became one of my favorite, least loved Pokemon in this generation, and that was like years ago before I actually started using this. And I just know that Sawk is honestly probably going to be a heavy hit on our team. I haven't checked his ability yet, but if he has sturdy, that's awesome. But yeah, guys, that'll be it for me. I will see you guys next episode where we battle the next gen. Hello everybody, and welcome back to a new episode of my Pokemon Black version Plush Lock. If y'all don't know what a plush lock is, feel free to go check out my other videos that I have on the subject. I have a crystal playthrough that I actually beat recently, and now we are here with black and white. Last episode, we actually beat Lenora, and now we can continue on here. After defeating it, we actually had to talk to her husband because there was a complication in the museum. Walking out, we can now see exactly what that issue was. Team Plasma is back. So following Lenora, we're going to meet a strange, flamboyant man. Very, very cool looking man, though, I must say. He's going to be introduced as the third gym leader. And as well as that, we have Sharon and Bianca that come over here to join us in the talk. And with that, we are sent on a mission alongside them. Before we go, though, we are going to get a very nice gift from Bianca the Dowsing Machine. And in a second, we can carry on. So they're going to keep the fort down, and we are going to move down here. However, there was a Pokemon counter that I could actually get that I didn't get last episode that I want to show y'all, and that was Temple. I didn't actually get to show you guys Muppet whenever I caught him, so I thought it'd probably be a good idea to actually go through and do this right now. Part of my file actually got corrupted, so I had to kind of redo a lot of these parts again. Sorry about that, but you know what? It's okay. I caught basically everything, same gender, just different Pokeballs in some of these. So if you notice, say, I think Muna has catched it in a Great Ball instead of a Pokeball. That's why. But we get a few more encounters. First one, of course, being a Venipede, and we get to add that to my collection. I do not have an actual Venipede plushie, so he is going to be in the back burner for now. However, as we get further in, we will actually be able to grab something for him. As well as that, we are going to grab a Cottony. Again, I don't have a Cottony plushie. However, right after we catch this, we're going to be doing something very, very cool. And that is kind of backtracking back to Nacrene City. So we're going to put that in our PC. And as well as that, we're going to have a Suwaddle. That backtracking that I was actually talking about is going to be this. If you go back to Nacrene City, you could actually talk to this person over here, and she'll trade your Cottony for her Lilil, no, Petalil. And then that's what it looks like. Very cute Pokemon. I've never had a traded Pokemon on my team, actually. But yes, we are actually going to catch Suwaddle as well. You can kind of tell that I kind of mixed up the footage there, but we'll keep that our little secret. We're going to name that little guy Pim, one of my favorite bug types besides Joltik. They're both tied in my opinion. But yes, Pim, the little Suwaddle. Sadly, we don't have any other evolutions of him. I would have loved to have a Leavanny on my team. That'd be so cool. We're going to find this final Team Plasma Trainer at the end of the forest. And after defeating his team, we're actually going to be gifted back the Dragonite Skull. I say it's Dragonite Skull, however, it's never really confirmed as a Dragonite Skull. It's mainly just a Dragon Skull. And then after that, he is going to be yelled at by one of the 7 sages. We're going to have Berg come and help us. And then, of course, Lenora is coming back to lay the smack down. We're going to be learning about a little bit more about Team Plasma. And then they should be skedaddling. And then just like that, it's just 2 gym leaders and the next challenger for Berg. Next up, we're actually going to be handing over the Dragon Skull back to her, and in return, we're going to get a Moonstone, which I'm super excited about.
You guys will see in the future whenever I actually get a chance to do it. However, let's just say one certain psychic type Pokemon we have a very, very special plush for. Now, one of my favorite portions about here is a Sky Arrow bridge. I have such a deep love for Sky Arrow, so much that I actually named my Archaladon after Sky Arrow back during my Violet and Scarlet DLC playthrough. But yeah, sadly that part is over with because now we are in Castelia City. And we have a bunch of stuff that we can actually do. First, we're actually going to be going a little bit further up north. They have a desert resort area that we could actually go to and get a whole bunch of encounters. First, of course, being Sandile. And after catching Sandile, we can officially add it to our group of Pokemon that we have in our collection. A very easy Pokemon to get in here, but he's going to be a heavy hitter. I'm going to name him Johnny C after Johnny Cage. You guys know about Johnny Cage and the sunglasses, and you would understand. And then, of course, we're going to find a Darumaka. So I do not have a Darmanitan evolution. However, I think Darumaka is going to be a pretty heavy hitter until we just kind of got to get rid of it. I'm going to name her Goober. And then the final one is a little bit of a more rare encounter, and that being Scraggy. And then we're going to throw a Great Ball, catch Scraggy, and we're going to name this little one Heather. I don't know why I want to name it Heather, I just thought it fit perfectly. And then now it is time to challenge the gym leader. Or at least it would be, however, it seems like we're going to be interrupted by our good old pal. I love him so much, Sharon. And then right after that, Berg is also going to be coming out. It seems like Team Plasma is up to more tricks again. We can't go through a whole nother city or town without having more tricks. But it turns out that what Team Plasma did was not only steal a Pokemon, but steal it from our beloved best friend, Bianca. While we're talking about what to do next, we're actually going to meet another Team Plasma member who's going to just kind of stumble upon us. Very, very weird. It's almost like the game had a narrative and had us to get over there. But yeah, so we keep on going back to where the gym leader is. We can find Berg again with a whole bunch of other Team Plasma people. And Berg's just going to kind of have us fight with him. Okay, that works with me. Berg's going to take on 2. I'll take on 1. We can do it. We're going to start off with our little Roggenrola taking on Sandile. Not a good idea, so we're going to go into Mozart. And after Mozart, basically just sweeps. That is going to be so much easier. I don't have the layout actually on the current team setup. You all see that in a few minutes. However, now it is time to officially go in here. Going into the room, we are met with not only a few of the 7 sages, but the leader of Team Plasma once again, Getsus. The last time, not counting Dreamyard with the Musharna, that we saw Getsus was actually in the very beginning of the game when we first met In as well. So the fact that we're seeing the leader once again, this time in a not so wholesome way, very, very scary. Luckily, we do get our little Muna back for our best friend Bianca, and now he's just going to keep on talking, leave, and now it is time for us to carry on a little bit more with the story. I didn't mention this earlier, but we do actually meet Iris earlier. Iris is the bodyguard of Bianca. She'll be a big play later in the game, but for now, I think we're just going to take the berries that she gives us, and it is time to go and fight the 3rd gym leader of Pokemon Black and White. So here we are. It is time to challenge Berg. We're going to push right through, and then after defeating all the trainers, we can actually carry through, go through all these little parts of the puzzle, and now we are face to face with the bug type gym leader, Berg. I don't know if you guys consider that a spoiler. I mean, considering his whole gym leader aesthetic is bugs, and his name is Berg, kind of like bug, it'd be a little bit easier to tell. However, after showing you guys the team, I think it's time for us to officially challenge Berg of the Castelia City Gym. First Pokemon that he actually throws out is going to be Whirlipede. I want to be honest, I kind of forgot that Whirlipede was one of the Pokemon that he had on his team. However, luckily we were able to win with a Fire Fang. That was terrifying, and luckily that's kind of the only portion that we really need Darumaka for. So Goober, you came into the darn thing. I thought he was going to be a Swadloon, so the fact that he was able to handle a Whirlipede, definitely a lot better than I thought. And next up, we're actually going to go into Mozart because we're going to be challenging his Dwebble. I just have so many memories of challenging this Dwebble with a Duat, so the fact that I'm doing it with a non-Duat is kind of crazy. I'm not used to having too many water types this early on in the game, and the fact that we had such an early one in Temple, one of the best ones in my opinion in the game in general, I think that is perfect. However, Mozart takes a bunch of heavy hits, so we're actually going to take him out and go into Toph. Toph is going to be able to at least finish it a little bit easier than Mozart could. Just a lot of those hyper potions in a row definitely hurt. However, that means it's going to be less for his ace Pokemon. That, of course, being Leavanny, one of my favorite bug-type Pokemon. Not for a weird reason, though. We're going to go into Jax, our little starter, who is now a very, very big, chunky boy. And even though she's a little bit faster, it does not do a whole lot, and we are able to get it to red health, and then one more flame charge after that speed boost. We are good. And with that, we defeat the third Pokemon Gym Leader Berg, and we can officially have the third gym badge. And with that, the third episode comes to an end. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Part 4 should not take too long to get here, but whenever it does, it does. But yes, I'm going to leave you guys. I hope you have a good one. Apologies for the blurriness. I know it's kind of a problem. However, I am playing on an emulator on my phone until my actual laptop can actually play some of these games. So, sorry about that, guys. But yeah, that's going to be it for me. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's Miba2 and welcome back to episode 4 of our Pokemon Black Plush Lock. Now, it's been a good couple weeks since we actually got to doing this. As you can tell from other posts that we've had recently, we've been dealing a lot with the Crystal Plush Lock and finishing up that and actually doing the movie of that, which if you have not watched it yet, I please hope you guys go and check it out. I highly recommend it. It was a bunch of fun, 2 hours long, which is crazy for the type of content I've done. Today we're going to be carrying on. We're going to be heading over to Nimbasa City to get our 4th gym badge. And it is time to get on out of here. Okay, we're going to head over, and I believe we have to go to the desert area first, so let's get over there. And before we can actually go anywhere into the main desert area, we're actually going to be stopped by Bianca, because she is going to want to do a rival battle. Out of the two, Bianca has definitely been the easiest ones to fight. I was a little scared of her in the beginning whenever we had first started this challenge, because she had 2 Pokemon compared to, I believe we may have 1 at the time. But now that we have some stronger teammates, such as our guy, we are crazy when it comes to fighting. We were able to pretty easily defeat her, and actually going over here to fighting Sharon, we can actually battle him as well. Sharon is a lot scarier because his Pokemon are a lot more advanced and a lot stronger for the most part. However, we are able to defeat him quite easily, I want to say. There's going to be a few complications as we go through. You will definitely see that in a second. So we're going to be sending out Mozart against his Duat. We really do not have anything that can handle half of his team, which actually becomes the scary part about this fight. They're going to just try to round him and see if they can do any damage. It's not going to do a lot, sadly, but we're going to just try on fighting him, and hopefully we're going to be able to get a critical hit. That critical hit would be very helpful. Except it's a critical hit onto us. So we end up losing Mozart, our last little guy. Our first little dude ends up falling for the first time. Gosh, so sad. I don't know who to go out to during this part. Like, everybody on my team is pretty weak against a Duat, so we're going to go into Goober and hope Goober can at least do something to this guy. I know it's not going to be a lot that he's going to be able to do. Hopefully something can come from it. Fire Punch is our strongest move, and it does not do anything. And we get critical hit again. Duat, you are doing me so dirty for me being one of your biggest fans. I don't know why you would do that to me. We're just going to have to go to Muppet and hope that we're able to do something to him. And a low sweep is able to get some damage on him. However, Muppet, very scarily, is super low. We're just going to go into Jax to get that Purloin out. And we are able to at least defeat Sharon. Sadly, though, we lose our first 2 members of our team. That is so sad. But with that, we're going to at least have one evolution. I pulled out one of my secret weapons, one of my favorite Pokemon from Generation 5, that being Sewaddle, because now we have a brand new Pokemon to add to our team that we actually got recently, that being Swadloon. I recently got the Mochi E-Retreat Swadloon plushie, so that is awesome. And then we're able to get one new encounter as well, another recent addition, that being Dwebble. You guys probably saw, if you follow my main channel, a few weeks ago, we got ourselves a Dwebble plushie, and now I can officially add him to my team. And even better, now that we have him, we also have Crustle already, we're able to get on and go crazy. Toph also gets to a better level. At level 25, she is able to evolve into a Boldore, so that is going to be some better power in our position as well. We're also going to get Power Gem, which I am definitely going to take. It's not going to be as useful right now. Hopefully in the future it might be a little bit stronger as she gains more levels, but we haven't really had anybody that we can actually use Power Gem for quite yet. And then as you're seeing right now, we actually find N, and N invites us to come hang out, and we learn some more lore about him. It turns out he is the king of Team Plasma. And I just want you guys to know, I did not know about this until I was a bit into the game, my first time playing. I didn't know that N was the king. I played the game a little bit later than everybody else. A bit before Black and White 2, I believe, came out. It's whenever I first started playing this. So I had no idea that N was the king of Team Plasma. I was also a young kid back then, so I didn't know, definitely. But now we are fighting N, and he has a pretty scary team, I'm going to be honest. However, Sandile at least was able to get defeated pretty easily. Sigilyph is the one that I am mainly terrified about. Sigilyph is such a scary Pokemon to battle, and you can kind of tell that because I'm supposed to be destroying it with Toph. However, gosh, that is a lot, and I mean a lot of damage, and I really don't know what to go out to. Everything is just way too weak in my opinion to take on a Sigilyph, so I'm going to go into Monty, and Monty at least tanks a hit for a little bit, and gosh, this is, man, I am very scared. So we are going to try and get out, but Air Cutter is just too strong. Monty is our third Pokemon down. I am terrified right now because this is 3 deaths. I believe this is more deaths already than we had in Pokemon Crystal. If not, I think it's tied. And that wasn't until like the last gym leader or the second last gym leader. So now we are tied for deaths with Crystal, and we aren't even fighting the 4th gym leader yet. I'm gonna go into Dream and hope that he can do at least something. I really don't know. Zen Headbutt, I realized now that Zen Headbutt's not going to be the best, considering that Dream is definitely more of a special attacker than a physical attacker. However, the fear of losing Monty already is just a little too much for me, but it's okay. We at least have Muppet to go crazy, and then with Scraggy, he should be able to clean it up pretty easily with him being a dark type. Monty is definitely one of the biggest crutches we have on our team, so that makes me definitely happy to have him with us. However, things are still going to keep on getting harder and crazier, and we are just going to have to put these little cute guys in our death boxes, sadly. But with death, at least a new life comes, and with that, we are able to find a Trubbish. And easily, actually, so surprisingly, I'm happy about that. My first Ultra Ball I use, we're able to catch Trubbish and add him to our, at least, PC squad. Sadly, I don't have a Garbodor plush, so he's not going to be the best. I also didn't even Taco Bell. I don't know why I didn't Taco Bell. I kind of like Taco Bell for the most part, so I don't know exactly why I did that. But now it is time to fight Elisa. But before that, I do want to get Dream evolved. I've had that Moonstone since before the 3rd gym leader, so I thought the perfect time to use it would be now. That way, if she needs to take some extra hits, she will definitely be able to. Dream is definitely going to become a big, heavy tank as long as he's able to stay alive. And for the most part, I think we're going to be able to do that, and I'm super excited because I love Musharna, and if I get to use Musharna, I definitely will. So the fact that we get to have one on our team, I will definitely take. And ouch, that hurt very much, but we're going to throw some spikes onto the floor. This is at least going to give us some extra damage to get rid of these Mulgas, because if you don't know, if you have a flying type come into spikes, they will take some good damage. If they were fire flying, that would have been better because they would have taken a lot of damage. However, they'll at least take a good amount from being a flying type. Electricity does not really matter for that, so electric types are not really affected. But yeah, you can kind of see that evolution definitely helped Dream when it comes to getting some higher damage percentages out. These Zen headbutts are for the most part pretty strong, and he's able to tank pretty well a lot of these volt switches, so I'm very happy. And with that, he's actually able to get the first one down, so that is perfect. Next up, we're going to be having our second Emolga come out, and I was pretty confident with this because I honestly thought that this Emolga was almost dead. I don't believe that it is, looking back at it. I believe she should be for the most part. No, she actually is. Okay, I'm thinking about a whole different area, I think, during this fight, so definitely be prepared for that. Hyper Potion, that's probably what I'm thinking of whenever I'm going back into this fight. But a Flame Charge, for the most part, does a big chunk of damage. And then that Volt Switch, once again, that's going to be very annoying because it's going to be going into Zebstrika. And Zebstrika is very, very scary, but it's okay. We're going to have Volt Switch come through again. Very annoying once again. However, Jax being paralyzed, he is not going to be able to take advantage. He can't handle any other moves. Jax is basically out of this fight for the rest of the battle. So we're going to have to make do and go into Johnny Cage. And Johnny C is going to at least have a better chance than probably Pig Knight would have. There's just not a lot of stuff you can do against a flying type. That's the hard part with having Johnny C, is we can't do too much. However, I know that she's probably going to go to Aerial Ace, so I'm going to switch out into Toth. Yep, and just like that, I knew Aerial Ace was going to be coming, so I decided to Power Gem again and hopefully get some good damage. That Oran Berry came in clutch, getting some more health for my little Toth, and we at least get some good chunk of damage on to Zebstrika. I'm going to have to switch over to Johnny C though, and this is the part that's going to be very helpful to us because Volt Switch is not going to be able to do too much to us because it can affect us to the ground type, and with that we are able to dig. We were able to survive a Flame Charge, which is perfect. Dig gets rid of Zebstrika, and now we are able to move on to the final Pokemon, being that very annoying Emolga. I just know this Emolga was the same one that we started with against in the beginning. This is the part that I was thinking about earlier where I said they was at full health. That is very annoying. But we are going to go into Muppet and see exactly what he can do. I had to make sure that with counter, it's exactly what I was thinking of, because I think there's another one that's similar, but only with special type moves. But I haven't had any effectiveness actually with counter, so that's the annoying part. Aerial Ace hits me for a lot, but the good news is counter hits it for double. So with that, we were able to defeat Elisa. She is, in all of my opinion, probably either the first or second hardest gym leaders when it comes to this game. So the fact that we were able to get rid of her and have all of them survive, even though we lost 3 this episode, oh, man, it is something else. But at least they survived the battle. That's going to be it for me, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. Next episode, we'll be moving on to battling Clay and going to possibly the most well-known Pokemon theme song for a city. That's how I'm going to leave it at. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye. Hey everybody, what's up? It's Mewtwo, and welcome back to our Pokemon Black Plush Lock. Now, last episode, we had a few struggles happen. We ended up losing not only our first team member, we lost 3 of them, so we need a moment of silence. Okay, we can move on. But we did at least defeat Elisa, so with that, we are now going to be able to move on a little bit further with the game, which, thank God, because she is terrifying. This portion of the game, I am never a fan of. You gotta do some dress up with our friend Bianca, which I like Bianca, just this dress up part is my least favorite. I do like Pokemon contests for the most part, especially before the BDSP-ification of them, where they kind of changed everything up. Before that, I did really enjoy them. Now they're okay for the most part. However, this dress-up, like dancing mode, I don't really like. But I do like the fact that you at least get to see Bianca get a little bit more confident, especially after talking to Elisa, the gym leader. It's nice. It's nice for her. Just for me, it wastes a few moments. Luckily, we are able to fast forward at least a little bit with the skip feature, so that makes me happy. It's it's just a lot usually during a normal game. So I appreciate the fact that we're able to kind of skip through. Now we have some stuff we're able to do, such as catch a new member of the Nuzlocke, that being a Minccino. I, of course, do have a Minccino plushie as well. It is from the Dress Specific line, which you're about to see there. And I do have a Chinchino as well, so that is going to be awesome. We're going to name her Enchilada. We're going to actually come back through because that was actually a clip that I meant to put in a little bit afterwards. However, I was able to add it. I had forgotten to do one little thing before I went to go do that. But before we were supposed to do that, we actually have to battle Sharon. And Sharon is still a little bit scarier than Bianca. However, we are kind of building a pretty powerful squad, and the squad does trying to change for the most part a lot more frequently than you will probably see some others change. So at least we are able to get through this and do a lot more damage and take a whole lot less risks, because he is the one that took off not only our first Pokemon in the Nuzlocke, but he also killed our second one. So he is scary when he wants to be, and this Duwat is the thing that's kind of the scariest out of them all. Luckily, when we have Musharna, she is pretty powerful, so she will be able to handle him with ease for the most part. That is very thankful, but we are going to be able to defeat Duwat. Still so sad to see a Duwat go down, but this Duwat, he might be the devil. And then next up, he has not evolved his Pansear yet, which honestly kind of lucky for us because we don't really have a water type really, which is still very scary. We need to figure out which Pokemon plushies I have a water type plush of, so that I can add them to my team, but there's just not a lot of options in Unova besides, of course, my boy Oshawott, which I can't do that because Sharon has Duwat. So sadly, that's off the table. There is one more, however, I don't get it until it's fully evolved, so that's going to be kind of annoying. Hopefully, though, we will be able to get it. I think I might be able to catch it pretty soon. It just depends. I don't know exactly what level it evolves, so we'll have to see from there, but it's whatever. But we're going to be facing off against Alder's little baby buddies, that being these two little toddlers and their Herdiers, which, dang, okay, able to train up Herdiers as a preschooler? That's kind of crazy. But we have proved ourselves enough, so now it is time to get over here to the bridge. We weren't able to really do anything at this bridge before we had beaten her, so now Elisa is able to get it lowered, which I guess you just need a little white girl to tell you that you're able to lower a bridge before you're able to. Yeah, that sounds about right, but she's just going to head on off. Sharon's going to go that way too, and so are we. And there is a special Pokemon we can actually catch on the bridge if you look for the little areas that have shadows, that being Ducklet. Now, while I do not have a Swanna plush, maybe Ducklet will be something strong that we can have. You can see him right there. I have the Tomy version. Maybe I'll be able to use it for something. I don't really know. Just Ducklet isn't very strong of a Pokemon unless you get it into a Swanna. And since I don't have that Swanna plushie, it's going to be very hard to try and do that. Maybe we'll find something willing. Like maybe if we're fighting against Clay, we might bring him with us just to make sure. I don't know. But the Pokemon that we have is Coco, the little Ducklet. And then as well as that, we do have a Deerling. And this is super funny because this is actually the same exact Deerling that I actually have a plushie of, which you're going to be able to see right there. It is Jack specific as well. I don't really prefer this one as much as the other ones. I mean, I like the winter one, I think, the most out of the bunch. However, I think that's the autumn one, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, it's pretty cute. But we are going to go into the big old ice house over here. And with that, we are going to find some of Team Plasma. Their little hideout is over here for now. We're going to have to fight off a little bit of these guys, and usually whenever I come over here, I don't have my full team yet, so it's kind of a hassle to fight off 4 different members of Team Plasma. Luckily, though, whenever we have a Muppet the Sock, we are kind of crazy, just destroying them pretty fast, so that I am at least very happy about. And with that, Clay's gonna come, get his people to arrest them. However, it seems like arresting is not going to be good enough for some reason. I guess it's just not good. So we are not going to be able to keep Team Plasma locked away. They're going to go back to Getsis, so it's whatever. I mean, it's just useless. It was just a useless battle, I guess. It's whatever. Yeah, I poured my soul into it. Muppet basically broke everybody's face in there, but it's whatever. But now we can at least go and start challenging Clay. And once we get here, it is now time to face him. I was able to get everybody up to level 29, which is the basis for fighting him. I try to keep it at the lowest level of his teammates for the most part. At least I try to. Sometimes I might level up a little bit by accident, it's whatever. But we were able to one-shot with Brick Break. Luckily, with Muppet learning Brick Break, this battle is going to become so much easier, which I am very, very happy about. And then as well as that, I did bring Prim, the Swadloon here. Swadloon is my boy. You guys know this by now. I love me some Swadloon. I think the plushie I have, the Mochirishi one of him, is so cute. And I'm happy that he was able to at least do some damage in this gym, taking off and destroying our little Paplitoad, which I'm still so sad we never got to use a Paplitoad. That would have been so cool to use. I honestly would have loved to use that in the end game, even though he would have been a Seismitoad because I don't have the plushie of that. Paplitoad still would have been so cool. And we actually moved back to Sock to fight Excadrill, and wow. Brick Break is going to be awesome to use because he is just crazy without it. And now the fact that we have one of the strongest fighting type moves, at least a normal fighting type move, it is going to be super helpful. And with that, Clay gets destroyed by Pim and by Muppet. And I am really happy that Muppet is being crazy in all the gyms he's in. You guys got to start using Sock. I learned this years ago that Sock is kind of crazy. So the fact that I was able to use him, it's awesome. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it for me. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please like and subscribe. And with that, I'm going to head on out. I will see you guys for part 6. Hey everybody, what's up? It's me, Batu, and welcome back to another episode of the Pokemon Black Plush Lock. Now, today we were able to defeat Clay, and it was actually pretty easy compared to like Elisa or some of the other gym leaders we've had to face. Very thankful about that. But we're going to move on, and now it is time to leave Driftvale City. While we're trying to leave, of course, we are going to be met with Bianca once again. However, this time, unlike last episode, she wants to battle. And I will take this XP. Yes, give it all to me, give it all to me. Especially with Muppet in the front to fight Herdier. Perfect, perfect. Musharna, I'm a little bit scared about because I didn't actually grab my usual team. I actually kind of just kept the team that I had before we had finished fighting Clay. So the team that I fought Clay with was the ones that I brought. None of these guys can really handle Musharna, which is a scary part. For the most part, though, Carrollton was doing pretty well about fighting them. It's just a thing of Carrollton is still kind of a small little bug, so he's not going to be doing as much quite yet. At least not until he's evolved into Crustle, so that's going to be very helpful whenever he is. However, Pim was able to finish it off for us. And next up, we're actually going to have to deal with Servine. And Servine, again, should be pretty easy for the most part. Just a few bug bites, and we're able to get Pim. I really wish I had a Lee Danny plush, because Lee Danny would be kind of power right now if I had that on the team. We don't, so it's okay. However, Pim is going to be able to just keep on fighting a bunch of Bianca's Pokemon. He's able to keep his own against the majority of them, which I really am happy about. Yeah, like I said, I might have to look and see if I can find a Leavanny plush or something. I really need a Leavanny plush to add to my thing so that I can actually evolve my little Pim. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, I don't know yet. We'll find out, But we are able to beat Bianca, and we get HMO2 Fly. I always wonder how the Pokemon trainers that we know, like, get these HMs so easily. Of course, if it was Clay or something that gave it to us, I wouldn't really care because it's just kind of a move that Clay would probably give to us in general. But the fact that, like, a character that we've known since little kids, and, like, how did they even get their hands on it? But it's whatever. After that, we are able to get over here into the Chargestone Cave. And with that, we meet up with N. He talks a little about the goat, Galvantula, and now we are done talking to him. However, we are able to move on and try to look for a few encounters that we actually have over here. Ferroseed not being one of them. However, this little guy is. Everybody, you already know that Joltik is one of my favorite Pokemon. He has become my favorite Pokemon as of late, which I really am happy about because he is so adorable. You guys already know I have a plushie of him. He always sits on my shoulder, and I am super happy to add him to my team. And then whenever the actual ending video gets up, you'll actually see exactly what it looks like in the beginning and the ending intro, similar to how I did the Crystal movie. So that's going to be really awesome. However, it is time to battle N once again, and he is going to have his Chargestone Cave team. And now we are able to battle. However, I don't know how well Jax is really going to do against Boldor. He has Arm Thrust, but I don't believe Arm Thrust is going to be enough to really kill. So the next best thing we can do is just kind of go into Sock and then just keep on punching our little rocks. We are basically like in Minecraft. We're mining right now. Oh, my boy Joltik. N has his own Joltik, which, fun fact, I actually have N's Joltik from Journeys Together, I believe. The card, I have it in my phone case. I usually have P, the Puchiana, or Rockruff, or whatever it may be. But right now, I just decided to switch it out with N's Joltik, and it is very cute. But even though he wasn't able to defeat Boldor, we are at least able to get some more out of our boy Jax. Jax is going to just keep on flame charging everybody. His speed is going to go crazy by the end of this battle. 2 speed boosts after that, and then the last one being Ferroseed, Steel, and Grass. Oh, you are just feeding him right now. So with that, we were able to defeat N. And luckily this time, no Pokemon were lost. And now we are going to run into Bianca and Juniper, and they get to finally meet the Lord of Team Plasma, that being N. He's going to talk a little bit, run away, and from there, they're going to give us some information. Not too important, however, we're going to head on out of Chargestone Cave, and we are now in the Strahlton City. This is one of the cities that I forget the most. I kind of forget a lot of stuff they have here for the most part, so I'm sorry about that. I just don't remember this town as much as, say, Driftvale or some of the other ones that I've seen a lot of. I'll be honest, most of my time whenever I finish the Black and White playthrough is spent at the daycare, so that's probably the reason why. But that's okay. We're going to meet Professor Juniper's father, the original Professor Juniper, as well as Skyla. And we have somebody over here that's doing a pretty nice trade. I went and got a Boldor, and with that, I'm going to be trading this fellow, Subscribe the Boldor, for Mini Pete the Emolga. And I know that you can catch Emolga here. I just thought it'd be really unique to actually have a trade we actually use instead of having one on the ability to like catch. It's either or for the most part. I just didn't want to deal with having to find Autonos and doing all that mess, but it's okay. And then next we're going to go to Celestial Tower because that's where we meet Skyla at, and we're going to get a new encounter, that being Litwick. Now, sadly, I do not have a actual Litwick plushie. However, this is going to be the personification of power in the PC, because if I ever end up needing it, right now we have Embor, we're going to have Pignite, all that. This will at least be something that's going to have some power once I'm able to get it fully evolved. If I do end up using it, it's definitely going to be something good. But now we are able to enter to the very top. We're going to talk to Skyla a little bit. She was able to help that missing Pokemon that was hurting. And now we are here to ring Celestial Tower bell. So, oh my god, bell. Okay, cool. But we are going to ring the bell. And with that, it is now time to have Skyla go back to her gym. And most importantly, us to meet her there. And now we are here at Skyla's gym. This is a really unique puzzle, however, it's very annoying for the most part. So many trainers whenever you start moving into the later gyms. That's the one thing I don't really like. But we're going to start off with Toph against Swoobat. Heart Stomp is a very unique move. I actually really like it. However, we were able to just one-tap that Swoobat and end it all off. And then next up, she's going to pull out Swanna. We're going to go into our newest member, Mini Pete, and hopefully Mini Pete can do some crazy work. Shockwave is pretty powerful for an Emolga, so I'm really happy about that. and we're gonna have to probably attack a few more times because she is definitely going to be healing these next several times. If you don't know, of course they get 2 hyper potions now instead of just the usual 1. Luckily though, we did get it into a point where she's not going to be able to heal, so that's at least nice for the most part. And then next she's going to go into Unpheasant. Now Unpheasant's going to be the last one on our team. We're going to go back to Toph, so Toph should be able for the most part to handle this. And I brought Blitzel onto the team just to see if we needed him. Happily, we didn't really need a Blitzel on the team, which, you know what, it's okay. Even though he's never going to be a striker, maybe sometime in the future we might need a Blitzel. Again, I don't know if we will, because we do have Mini Pete, but that is here nor there. But we are able to defeat Skyla of the 6th gym badge. And now we are moving on. We only got 2 more gym badges, and I am super excited for that. But yes, we also get acrobatics. That's nice. That's nice. And now we are able to move on for the next episode. However, I do have something I want to do beforehand. Carrollton was just below the level cap before needing to evolve, so I wanted to give him a little something special and get Carlton into a Crustle by the end of this episode. I am super excited to see where Carlton goes from here. This is going to be a big upgrade when it comes to his moves, especially his bug type moves and some of his rock type moves as well, especially with Boldor probably getting a little bit weaker now since he's not fully evolved. But that's it for me, guys. Everybody, what's up? It's Smoopa2, and welcome back to the 7th episode of my Pokemon Black Plush Lock. Last time in the Plush Lock, we beat our next gym leader, Skyla. We officially have the 6th gym badge, so now it is time to move to Icarus City, and I'm super excited to get over there. This is going to be where we start getting some pretty powerful Pokemon on our team. Sadly, with it not being the winter time on my game, I'm not going to be able to get one specific Pokemon, which really sucks, but it's okay. It's okay. We'll make it work, and we're going to have a pretty unique team still, no matter what. So I'm excited for that at least. But we talked to Mom, and now it's time to get over here to Twist Mountain. Twist Mountain is always that one place that I kind of forget about most of the time. I forget that it's a place. It's whatever. We have Sharon as well that we're going to be battling. Of course, we got Mini Pete last time we played, and now we're going to have a pretty fast and unique team member, I think, on the team. Mulga is definitely one of the coolest ones I get to use. I'm super excited for it. With that, we were able to take down a Pheasant. Shockwave is pretty powerful for what it is, so I am really happy about that. One thing is with this team, we don't really have too many counters that can reliably take out a fire type, especially with Toph not being the most powerful still at the moment because it is not a Gigalith. It's always going to be a Boldor. I'm sorry, Toph. I wish we could evolve you into a Gigalith. We're just not going to be able to, but it's okay. We're going to go in and destroy this Duat, or I wish we could destroy this Duat. Sadly, he is very strong. Last time Duat was a menace to us a few gyms back. We were able to defeat him pretty easily in another fight that we had with him. However, this is gonna suck quite a bit. So we're gonna move and hopefully take out this dude. Luckily, we are not going to die all the way with Dream. We're going to get out of there, though, because we kind of want Dream for the post-game, especially with the Fighting Elite Four. He is going to be very well needed whenever we fight further in the game. So I'm hoping that we might be able to do something. However, these guys are taking so much damage. Muppet took so much damage already, and with that, Duat is gaining so much healing. I'm kind of scared, I'm going to be honest. We're going to have to sacrifice something, so I decided to go into Toph. I'm so sorry, Toph. Oh, okay, I guess Ace wanted to say hello. But yes, I'm super... Okay, he keeps on saying hello. But I decided to go into Mini Pete because I believe we should be able to defeat him, or at least get a pretty speed boost from it, because I believe that Mini Pete was supposed to be faster. However, Aqua Jet was not good, and this is where it kind of gets scary for me because I need Muppet to survive, because Muppet has become such a valuable teammate for me, and luckily he does, because we were able to get that paralyzed. Thank God he didn't go for Aqua Jet or anything like that, then we gotta move into Lipard, and sadly, we just gotta keep on risking it with our boy. However, she doesn't do anything that actually does damage, so Lipard goes down pretty easily, and with that, we defeat Sharon. Still, I am very sad about the fact that we just lost two teammates, one of which I was super excited to possibly use, and the other one in Toph being such a valuable member on our team that it just sucks. We had her since she was a rock and roller, and now the fact that we lost her so quickly is very sad and kind of depressing. But yes, we did lose Toph and of course Mini Pete. We gotta put it in the dead box next to, of course, Drillbur, Darumaka, and Dynamo. I'm sorry, guys. You were awesome. I don't know. I'm just very disappointed right now in myself. We're gonna pick up our boy Pim, the Swadloon. You saw him evolve, I believe, last episode. And then we have another special one on our team. That, of course, being Scolipede. The good part is Scolipede is quite the heavy hitter. I've actually never used one on my team, but I know how crazy it can actually become. So this is going to be a really cool teammate to have and actually run some stuff with. And we're going to actually get a few more encounters, one of which being Frillish. I don't have an actual plush of Frillish, however, by I believe the next gym, we're going to actually be able to evolve her, which is going to be awesome because I do have at least a plush of that. A very unique plush that I'm surprised I have, but still a pretty cool one, and we are able to catch Frillish. This is going to be another unique one. I've never used one on my squad, so this is going to be awesome. I name her Jelly, just a simple name. Another one we could also get that's not going to be too powerful just because of the fact that we're kind of getting too far into the game where we don't really need it is going to be Axew. And I just caught this just in case we need something. Maybe in the future we might need it. I just don't think we will because I don't have a Fracture or a Haxorus flush. That would be pretty cool to have if I have the Sitting Cuties or the Keychain ones. I just sadly do not. We're going to name her Zelina. And then while we're at it, running around, I'm actually going to pick up another Pokemon that we recently got. That, of course, being Purloin. And Purloin, I recently got a plush of after I started the series, and I just never had a chance to actually go back and catch one, so we're going to do that now. And with that, we're going to name her Kit Kat. So that's going to be a pretty cool teammate to have in the back. I don't think I'm ever going to use it. I doubt it. If I do, then I'm going to be honest, the run is probably over. But we're going to just move on with some of the story. We're going to finally be able to enter Twist Mountain. And Twist Mountain is pretty scary. However, we were able to get through it without any deaths, which I really am happy about. I usually skip over these bigger ones, mainly because it's not needed. And the fact that I'm pretty strong enough to handle all these trainers before. But we see a bit of Team Plasma intrudings going on. We talk to Sharon, and then after this, we're going to talk to Professor Juniper's father, the original Professor Juniper. We had met him last episode, so it's pretty cool to see him once again. We got a few more encounters to actually pick up as well. We got a new Pokemon that I also have never used on my team before, so this is going to be a really unique one if I do end up needing it on my squad, that being Mienfoo. Mienfoo is such a cool Pokemon, I just have never used it before. We're going to name this guy Todd, and he's going to be some power on the PC. Another one that we actually run and have on our team for the gym battle is going to be this Stunfisk. Stunfisk is such a funny Pokemon, and the fact that I have one of a plush is awesome. I think they have a life-size plush for him too, so I think I might have to get him in the future. This one we name Larry. And another awesome thing we get to also add is that at level 36, our Pignite evolves into Emboar. So the Pokemon that we had at the beginning is finally fully evolved. Jax, you are now the big bad Emboar, and you are going to be fantastic to have on the team. And with that, it is now time to battle the gym leader. I'm going to be super honest. I don't think Bryson is going to be that much of an issue for me, just for the fact that, like you saw previously, our boy Jax is super strong, and I also have Muppet in the back pocket just in case too. I have a few others that might be pretty good, like if I need to, Carrollton is in the back too to be used. Muppet, though, I think is going to be pretty good for the cleanup crew. And we're just going to break this guy until we kill it. Sadly, we did not one-shot it, That swagger is kind of scary, and I meant to brick break here again, but I accidentally clicked into counter. But luckily, it actually pulled off, and we were able to counter and destroy that bear tick. Thank God that you didn't hit yourself in fusion, because that would have hurt. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine what would happen if we lost our boy Muppet there. We got Mianfu in the back, of course, if needed. Man, that would have sucked so much if we had to, but we're also able to heat crash our way to victory with Cryogonal, and I sadly accidentally ended up taking off, I believe, Flame Charge for Assurance. That was a mistake on my part, and I'm going to have to see if I can get it back on there. I sadly do not believe so, so that definitely sucks. But that's going to be it, guys. We officially defeated Bryce, and we are in basically the end game for the most part. We just got to do some more story stuff, and then we get to fight the last gym leader. But it's going to be it for me, guys. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you guys for the last gym battle. Bye. Hey everybody, what's up? It's Movie2, and welcome back to the 8th episode of our Pokemon Black Plush Lock. Now, in the last episode, of course, we were able to defeat Bryce, and from there, we have now defeated 7 of the gym leaders, and we only have one more before it's time to challenge the league. As we walk out, we are going to be interrupted by our dear old friends, Sharon and Bianca. I say mainly Bianca because Sharon is very scary, considering most of my team that has died has been from his hands. I still can't believe he's killed so many of my Pokemon. This is just like Red and Raticate. It's just opposite though. It's so sad. But now that we have a different level cap, I wanted to go ahead and evolve our little Jelly into Jellicent, and of course Johnny C into Crocodile. I didn't have a Croc plush, but now I do have at least Crocodile, so that's going to be awesome to have. From there, we are going to meet up with Professor Juniper's father, the original Professor Juniper. He's going to tell us about Dragon's Battle Tower and Team Plasma. So I believe the next course of action is to help and go check out what exactly is going on over there. I talked to this guy too. He just does not do anything. I'm surprised there wasn't just random battle here. Sadly, in Dragon's Battle Tower, there is no encounters that we can get. Man, I really wish we had a Golurk or a Golurk plush. That would have been so freaking cool. But it's okay. We're going to actually team up with Sharon and I believe Bryson to actually take on the Team Plasma Goons. And then after that, we're going to get up a few more steps. We're going to be basically ganged up on when it comes to these battles. Luckily, they are just 1v1s. However, it's still very scary. Muppet was at least able to do a lot of damage to these guys. That's the best part about having Muppet. Fighting type is amazing in this economy, so that's going to be very, very helpful. And now it is time. Zekrom has been awoken. In has awoken Zekrom, aka my favorite legendary of all time. Still my favorite legendary. Man, Zekrom's just so freaking cool. I love Reshiram too, but Zekrom, man, he's just a whole other beast. But he has now awoken him, so we are definitely going to be working at a disability. This is going to be a hard fight to meet if we end up having to challenge N. We are only one gym battle away from meeting him at the Pokemon League, and from there, we'll see. Maybe Alder will be able to defeat him. If you guys have played this game as many times as I have, you already know exactly what's going to happen in the storyline, but still, it's something to consider. Maybe Alder this universe will defeat N. Who knows? Who knows? But Bryson and Professor Juniper are going to actually leave. We are going to head over to the Relic Castle next. That's the next place that Team Plasma is going to be hiding at. Sharon, of course, is going to stop us like he always does. Thanks for stopping us every time. That's awesome. I really appreciate that. But now we are in Relic Castle. And I am trying to sneakily avoid all of these trainers because I never actually battled them. Oops, it's okay. But we are going to move on, and we're going to be with Ryoku. And from there, it is time to challenge Team Plasma. After defeating several different goons, we are going to meet up with Alder, and then Sharon finally catches up with us as well. And we are face to face with Getsus. He mentioned something about a light stone. And from there, the questions that keep on coming with Team Plasma. He is talking about his preparations with Zekrom and N, our king, and it is going to be a huge storyline plot with that Zekrom that we previously saw. But it's okay, because as we are talking to Alder, we're going to get a phone call. And from there, the Professor Juniper we all know and love wants us to meet them at Nakreen City. So after talking to our boy Sharon, we are going to meet up with them. And from there, we are going to get a bunch of story about the whole thing with the Dragon Skull, the Dragon Pokemon, the legendaries, and from there, we're actually going to be learning about some other stuff, such as the Lightstone. We're going to be given the Lightstone, and the Lightstone theoretically should be holding the power of Reshiram. Now, we won't be able to unlock that power Reshiram just yet. However, the stone will be in our inventory for the future. Hopefully that future will come to be. I would really enjoy it if it was. That would be definitely a lot nicer. However, it is time to move on and actually go to the final gym leader. From there, we are stopped by our lovable friend Bianca, and Bianca's going to challenge us to a battle. And she's going to start out with Statlin. Luckily, we do have Muppet in the start, and with that, we should not have any trouble at all with Stoutland. Something I'm a little scared about, though, is Stoutland did handle that Brick Break pretty well, so maybe Muppet might be losing some strength. I don't know. He has been amazing beforehand, so I don't have any reason to doubt him exactly, but we are noticing a little bit of a strength deficit when it comes to our boy Muppet. That's okay, though. He is still one of the coolest members that we have on the team. He's a Pokemon that you rarely ever seen use. So you know what, Sock? You will stay on our team as long as I can have you. You are awesome. You have been a perfect teammate for us. And then she's going to send out Superior after we destroy her Musharna. From there, we're going to go into Caustic. Caustic is more of a rare one to see actually in the battles. I'm trying to think if I'm going to actually be using Caustic a lot in these battles. Maybe I will. It's just at this point, there's not too many different types of grass types or anything that Caustic can really handle as well as say a Carrollton. However, they are still pretty cool teammates to have together, so we'll see. I usually go for the tankier Carrollton just because he's a pretty unique one to also use on the team. That has been the main story about the black and white plush lock, is that I like some unique little plushy guys, so the fact that I am able to at least have these guys, definitely really cool. But we almost lost Caustic already. And I'm going to be honest, this coil is really scaring me. And now that her defense has all the way up, we are going to have some trouble knocking out this guy because that's how much Heat Crash is doing. And that's the best move I have, as well as a defense rising and accuracy rising. Attack is the scariest thing that was rising. However, Superior got critical hitted. Thank the Lords, because I think that at that point, if he had done anything, even a Leaf Blade would have probably knocked out Jax by then. Next up, she's going to send out Semi-Poor. I'm trying to see exactly who I should go out to, because I don't really have any good choices. Sadly, after my boy Mini Pete died, we only have a few choices to actually handle any water types. Luckily, though, with a lot of the water types, they are a different type as well, so that is at least very handy. So if they're a rock type, if they're ghost type, we can at least handle them with pretty ease for the most part. But these basic water types were just so much harder to deal with. Luckily, a few side beams was enough to get rid of that Semi-Poor, and from there we are able to move on post Bianca. I appreciate her saying bye, giving us her best, and now it is time to continue on. And while we're walking across the bridge, we are met face to face once again with Gets's. He tells us the story of the two legendary beasts, aka Reshiram and Zekrom, and how we are the perfect foil for N. And from there, we will be the ones to challenge him. However, I think he's more on N's side, sadly. But it's okay. We got a whole bunch of other people cheering us on as well. And of course, we have a few brand new encounters to add to our collection. One of those being Pawnyard, and I am super happy because I don't have a Pawnyard plushie. However, I do have a Bisharp one. Once that guy gets evolved, if he ends up getting evolved, maybe I won't need him. This is going to be a crazy team to have. And as well as that, we are able to find a Volibee. And with Volibee, we can now add another member to our team. Sadly, I don't have Amanda Buzz plushie. That would be super awesome to have. I just don't have one. I'm super sad about that part, but it's okay. It's okay. So we are gonna move on as well. We're now in the actual city, and from here, we're gonna see Getsus again. 3 times in a row we have seen Getsus, and this time, once again, spewing his nonsense. We don't believe you, Getsus. We are on to you, but him and Team Plasma leave. Sadly, that just makes all of the normies reconsider having Pokemon. That's the scary part about all this. But that's okay. We're going to talk to Drayden and Iris. Iris, we've already met before. Drayden, we don't really know too well. However, that is okay. Iris, we have a bit of storyline with, especially back down in Castelia City. So we're going to have Alder leave. That's okay. And with that, Iris is going to invite us to meet with Drayden so we can have a story and history lesson in the house. It's always awesome seeing these type of stories that they actually add to the game. I've always liked these kind of stories, even though for the most part I kind of skip them after a little while of playing the game multiple times, because of course I already know the story for a while now. I've been playing this game for a literal decade and a half already, and from there I've played it numerous times. My most played Pokemon game, I believe, yeah, definitely my most played Pokemon game. I can't even remember a game that even gets close to it. Even the likes of Black and White don't even get close to it. But we are here at the final gym battle. It is now time to challenge Drayden of the Gym Leader Challenge. And while I have an idea of how to actually go about this, it is still going to be super hard. Sadly, I was really hoping we'd get a move that can help our little Jellicent learn Ice Beam or something like that. Ice Beam you don't get until after this gym, so that definitely sucks and kind of hurts us. We're going to go into Dream, start it out, because instead of doing any specific moves, we're going to go to Hypnosis first. Hypnosis hits on the second try, so that is excellent. And from there, I am going to go into Muppet, because Muppet does have a special attack that we don't really use too often, especially during these fights, because Muppet's already pretty strong as is. However, with it being Dragon type, I feel like we're going to definitely need this. And that, of course, being Bulk Up. Bulk Up has definitely been a move that I use a lot, especially down in Generation 3 with Hariyama. That was definitely a powerful move for me. But now, 2 bulk ups in, we are able to get some damage going. Druddigon is going to come out next, and with that, we are going to look to bulk up one more time, just to get the 3-person. And from there, Dragon Tail is going to hit us, and I didn't know Dragon Tail actually took your teammate out until after he did it. That probably was not the best idea to do, but now we lost all of those bulk up setups. That sucks. That really, really sucks. And now Jax is taking a bunch of damage, and he is not doing a bunch of damage, so we are going to go into Jelly, and from there, we're just going to have to hope Jelly can do something. However, a Nightshade at the perfect timing was not good at all. Man, this is why I'm super scared of Dragon type, especially in the generations 1 through 4. They are absolutely destroying anybody's teammates, and we still got to deal with a specific dragon, actually 2 specific dragons after this battle too, so that is even scarier. And honestly, they're the ones that I'm most scared of from the beginning. But we are going to move in and dig, and yes, we are able to get the high roll when it comes to the move, and we are able to knock out Druddigon. From there, we have Haxorus. I'm going to have to go into Muppet and just hope I can do a good amount of damage, and from there, Brick Break's probably going to be our best bet. Brick Break has been super helpful, however, I am a little bit scared that he's not going to do a lot of damage, especially because we don't have Bulk Up, but he hits a half amount of damage. That is amazing. That is all I needed, especially with the dragon dances. That was perfect. Muppet gets level 44. He has been super helpful for us, and I am so appreciative of the fact that Muppet has survived this long. He is an awesome member to have on the team. I'm super happy we have him, and even better, he helped us get all 8 gym badges, besides 1 maybe. But besides that, he helped us get all 8 gym badges, so Muppet has definitely been an MVP of this whole game. Definitely one of the team leaders, and he's awesome. So I gotta give Muppet some love. If you guys do not like Sock, I think you guys should start liking Sock, because he is absolutely rocking and rolling. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it for me. If you enjoyed, please hit the like button and subscribe. Next episode, we will be going and challenging not only the Elite Four, but the Pokemon Champion. Whether that be Alder or possibly another foe. I'll see you guys next time. Hey everybody, what's up? It's me, Batu, and welcome back to the finale of the Pokemon Black Plush Lock. This journey has been so fun. I honestly think I might prefer this more than the Crystal one, just of course with Black and White being my main game, and that's working great. I have more Pokemon to actually use on my teams than I probably would have if it weren't for it, but it is super fascinating to see how far we've gotten, the teammates we've used. It's been a lot of fun, so I'm happy about that. But we did defeat Drayden last episode, and now we're going to be joined by Professor Juniper. Okay, hello there, Professor Juniper, of course. She's going to tell me about the fact that we had started in November Town, and now we have made our way, completing the 8 gym badges, and can now move on to the Pokemon League. But of course, there is going to have some issues before we do that. We'll show that off in a bit. Of course, we get the Master Ball as well. On the way over to the Pokemon League, we're actually going to be stopped by our best friends, our childhood friends, Sharon and Bianca. And I'm going to be so honest, I'm super scared about Sharon. I brought my boy Larry here because I knew that he had a pheasant. I just don't have anything that can really handle a pheasant since we lost Boldor. And I'm kind of scared to bring out my big bug rock boy out as well. So we are going to get a pheasant out with this. Samurott is also another scary one. However, I am going to keep the risk with Larry. And I forget that Larry is also part ground type. I don't know why I forgot about that. But one Aqua Tail was enough to just take out Larry. That sucks so late to the end of the game because Larry honestly could have been a really funny Pokemon to use. I'm not going to lie. That would have been a real funny one to use. But they are not going to be able to survive. Super sad, but you know what? It's just something that we got to get through, so that sucks. We're going to go into our boy Dream. The only time you'll ever hear me talk about Dream in a positive light, at least this stream for sure. And we're just going to keep on side beaming until we potentially get the victory here. Samurott does go down. That is very thankful that they don't have X-Scissor or Mega Horn. That would have been really scary. But luckily he does not, so we are able to get out of there. And now we're going to be facing off against Leapard. We go into our boy Muppet, who I honestly think might have become the leader of this team. He has been insane ever since we first got him. Semi-Seer is going to be out next, so we're going to send out our girl Jelly. And with that, Jelly should be able to just kind of knock this out, I believe. And no, okay, so we got potentially a low roll there because I do believe she should be able to knock out for the most part. Paralyze is also not going to be very helpful. Link is also very scary because now it is doing a lot of damage, twice the paralyzation. We're just going to go out into Johnny C. That way our girl Jelly is protected because we don't have any water types that could potentially be useful besides her. So we need to make sure that Jelly is surviving this whole encounter. Which she does, and thankfully we have fully completed our rivalry quest with our friends. Bianca and Sharon, they will no longer be challenging us because we are off to bigger, and I don't want to say better, but more dramatic battles than just them. But yes, it is very nice to at least spend some of this time with them before we go off into the league. And after going through all of these doors and getting the Legend Badge, of course, we can now head into the big stop that I talked about, that being Victory Road. And only in one encounter are we actually needing to get anything in Victory Road. That, of course, being Dino. And Dino is going to be a crazy Pokemon. However, I don't know if I'm actually going to be using it on my team. He might be in the finale part before that. But I don't know. It's just because I think I'm going to have the level cap at 55. And then after that, not really using anything to get them higher up. Because if you guys don't know, I've been pretty transparent about it. I have been using rare candies since the beginning. But that is just kind of the battles that I've done. That way I don't have to keep on grinding for hours at a time. Able to get through the whole game. It's a Nuzlocke. I want to just do that and just go buy the movesets. But we are now here at the Pokemon League. But we still got some stuff we got to do. Such as evolving some of the Pokemon that we already have. That being, of course, Todd evolving into a Mienshao. Belmont, who's one that I'm really excited to have, is going to be evolving, of course, to the boy, Bisharp. And then we're going to have Enchilada evolving as well. I didn't get to use Enchilada. I really wanted to. I just decided not to because she didn't really fit too well. But Enchilada evolves Chinchino. We have Corpse evolving into Chandelure. I didn't have any of the other Pokemon besides the Chandelure, so this works out perfectly for me. So that is definitely nice. And then Krampus as well is going to evolve. I got Krampus the Dino earlier in the episode, and now he's already a Hydreigon. Like I said, don't know if I'm going to be using that. And then one more encounter before the end of the game. It is a Alola-Mola. I didn't know that Alola-Mola was anywhere in the area. I just kind of forgot about Alola-Mola, I'm not going to be honest. And after a bunch of Ultra Balls failing, we threw a Timer Ball, got her, and we're going to name her Lilo. So Lilo is our final main encounter. We are back at the Pokemon League, and I think it is time to go and fight them. And now he is preparing me, telling me there is no going back as soon as I step into those doors. So with that, I think it's time to figure out exactly who we're going to be dealing with when it comes to this. But I do want to show off the team so far. This team has been amazing. A lot of these Pokemon I've had since the start for the most part, and some of them joined a little bit afterwards. However, a lot of these Pokemon have been so helpful. Of course, you just saw our starter. We have such helpful teammates, so I'm super excited to use them. Our boy Dream has been great, so I'm happy to have him on the team. And then we, of course, have the rest of the squad. This is going to be probably the hardest challenge I think I've had. Black and White is harder than Crystal in my opinion, and that's saying a lot considering we defeated the champion of all champions, Red. But we are going to save, as you should always do, for big battles, because only you can prevent lost save data. Even though I strongly dislike the person that came up with that, it is still some really smart advice to go for. And now we can officially challenge the Elite Four. Of course, we're going to be starting off with Chantel, the Ghost-type trainer. Chantel is really cool. I really like this Elite Four. A lot of Elite Four in this has character, and I find it really awesome. We're starting off, of course, with Belmont, the teammate that you saw just a few moments ago. This is going to be a really cool Pokemon to use. I loved using Belmont. I actually had a Belmont the King Gambit in my first ever Scarlet and Violet playthrough, which I actually have on my Instagram. If you guys want to check out my Instagram, @PatuPlaysPokemon, that would be very nice and very helpful to me. But yes, it's going to be so cool using Belmont, because Belmont, as just a Bisharp, is super strong already. The fact that they gave it King Gambit afterwards is crazy in my opinion. And yeah, I just can't stop saying the praises, honestly, of Belmont, the Bisharp, or just Bisharp in general. We're going to go on Jelly, and we're going to use our one water gem we had, because that was kind of going to be one of the Pokemon I was really scared to get out of it. I am very scared of Golurk, especially because the two Pokemon that I think can actually handle him, I think for the most part wouldn't be able to do too much to him, or they would, but they would take some hits and heavy hits of damage. And now that we have Chandelure coming out, we're going to go into Jelly. This is going to be, honestly, something that I mistakenly did. I thought Jelly was going to be the best one, which you guys will find out why I was not thinking. And that was just obviously Fire type. Surf should be able to kill it. It does not, and it did a lot of damage. And we, of course, go out to the better idea, that being, of course, Johnny C. Critical hit is still super scary though, so we're going to have to be very careful with that. We won't be able to use them anymore, but luckily that was the end of the battle, and we have Hyper Potions. Of course, with these battles, I'm going to not heal. With at least these, I'm still very hesitant on whether I'm going to be enacting that rule or not for the ending fight. We'll figure that out as we go. But with that, Chantel is now defeated, and we can move on to the second Elite Four member. The coolest part about this is the fact that you don't really have a specific Elite Four that you have to go through. I love the fact that you get to pick your own. That, of course, starting with the Black and White gyms. But now we start with Grimsley next. And Grimsley is going to be the Dark type specialist. special for me because I love me some dark types, and Grimsley was so cool seeing in the Sun and Moon playthroughs. But we're going to have Scrafty starting it off against our boy Muppet, and of course we're going to try to get out as many of these full stores as we can. I just decided close combat because it's at least one restore gone, but now that we're kind of defenses down, I am going to actually switch out and go into Jax, because while I'm going to be honest, I don't think arm thrust is going to be very helpful for us. It is at least going to be something that we can use, but we are just going to mainly use Heat Crash just because I think Heat Crash will probably be better in the long run. Next up, they're going to have Crocodile. Crocodile being a very, very scary Pokemon to have. We're going to go into Jelly, but this is also still super scary because Dark types are strong against Ghost types. And you can see that the Foul Play kind of wrecking her pretty badly. But it's okay. Jelly is okay. And now we only have one more Pokemon to deal with. We're going to go into Muppet one more time. And with that, I believe for the most part, we should be safe to just one-shot this guy. Especially with those 4-time weaknesses. It was best for us. Like I always say, Muppet is the leader of the squad. He has to be considered the leader of the squad after the showing he has been putting off since we started with him. I'm super happy he's made it this far out, because Muppet has been the one that I've been wanting to use a lot of. I just never got to use one end game. I would always use it for like the Lenora battle, and that was mainly it, maybe a little bit afterwards. But the fact that we got to use our boy in a full playthrough has been amazing. And I don't think he's really been switched out too much for actual gym badges. I think maybe once or twice for like the most part out of the 6-7 gym badges he's here. He just wasn't for the first one. That is very impressive for a Pokemon on my team. But now it is time to battle Caitlyn. She's going to start with Uniclus. Like I said, this whole Elite Four has so much personality in my opinion. The way they look, the way they dress, the way they talk, the way they act. And it's so cool. We're going to get both full restores out automatically, which I am really happy about. And we're actually going to get a critical hit, so we're not going to have to deal another extra Night Slash, which I'm also very happy about. So we're going to keep on going with Night Slashes with Beaumont. Beaumont's just going to be destroying this whole Elite Four for the most part, which is really happy. I'm super happy I decided to bring it with me, because Crocodile would have been nice. However, there's going to be some Pokemon Crocodile probably wouldn't have been able to take out by himself. Which, speaking about that, let's go into our boy, Johnny Cage, to take out Musharna. We've had enough done with the Belmont, so I think he gets to take a little breather for a second. And with that, we can actually head and continue fighting this Musharna. Crunches will do the job. Luckily, Johnny C is still very strong, so he's going to take on the Sigilyph as well. Sigilyph being the last Pokemon on her team as well, and he was able to one-shot, which I'm really proud of him for. That's awesome to see. And with that, we have defeated the third member of the Elite Four. But now, it leaves one more battle, and then we are done. We can go and challenge, whether that be N or Alder or whoever may have made their way to the Elite Four before us and made their way to the championship before us. This is going to be an awesome ending battle. Marshall has always been the Pokemon that I've been really scared to face off against. He is a crazy trainer. I have either wiped or lost a lot of Elite Four battles in my heyday to him, and we don't really have anything that can really destroy his fighting type trainer, so he's going to be very scary. But we are still going to make our way through here. Throw did a lot of damage to Jelly, and we were not able to get the one-shot before the full restore. That really, really sucks, because that's just going to mean that she's out basically for the rest of this Elite Four battle, which I was really hoping to use her for some of the other fights in here. But that's okay. We're just going to go for Flamethrower. And with that hope that we're able to take him out, we did not, but we get that final free restore, and with that we are able to flamethrower him twice more and end his throws. I don't want to say life. We fainted throw, but now we're going to have to ego him a little bit with our Muppet versus his Sock. Of course, it's going to be kind of an unfair battle, but you know what? Brick Bake does the damn thing, and now we only have to deal with, I believe, one more if I'm not mistaken. Scratch that. No, we got to deal with two more. Definitely got to deal with two more. We only defeated his Sock and Throw, which that's super funny how the fact that Elite Four has a Sock and a Throw. But you know what? The boy having a Sock, you got to respect it. That's awesome. That is awesome. We were able to destroy Conkeldurr, and now we just have to deal with Mienshao. And critical hit, U-turn, hit stream, and it I think this one was probably the most hurtful one, losing Dream this far into the Elite Four. I didn't know that he had U-turns, so that really hurts. But still, it is nice that we were able to defeat him. I'm super sorry for Dream. Dream was one of the Pokemon that I was really hoping we would get through to the Elite Four. We just sadly able to have that, but we are going to finish this off strong, and we are going to finish this game, if not for Dream, if not for Larry, if not for any of the Pokemon that we have lost on this journey, which we have lost a good few, sadly. This is where it all ends. And as we approach, we learn that N has defeated Alder and became the champion of the Unova League. His whole view on everything defeated Alder's, and with that, he has now enacted his and Gets' plan to rise the kingdom, N's kingdom, from the ground, and now we are in the endgame. We were in there from the beginning whenever we started fighting the Elite Four. They had nothing to do with this, though. They're still not helpful at all in the endgame, but it is now time to approach and go and find N once and for all. Before we can do that, though, we are stopped by Sharon, and now Alder tells me we need to do this. Not just me, not just my plushies, not just my Pokemon, you and I. It is time to go and challenge N of the Pokemon Unova Elite Four. So now we make our way up to the kingdom. And from here, it looks like the sages are going to stop us. They do not want us to reach in per Gets' request. However, it's not the Elite Four, but rather the gym leaders that come to save the place. I find it so fascinating exactly how they do it here, having all of the gym leaders basically being part of like some government or like protectors of everybody. They have their own jobs, but also they do need to protect the people that live here, and it seems like that is what they intend to do. So luckily we don't have to fight the 7 sages. We can just move on. We're actually going to meet the sisters of N, and it is now time to get into the PC because we do have to let go Dream. I'm so sorry, Dream. You were an amazing teammate, and I am super sad that we're not going to be able to bring him with us. But I just feel like it's only right to bring Little Bug with us. If you guys don't know, Little Bug always sits on my shoulder whenever we're doing whatever kind of Pokemon plush videos or whatever it might be Unova related. So I feel like that would be the best final teammate. He's not going to be the strongest, however, he is at least going to be very cute. But potentially my favorite place in all of N's championship kingdom is going to be his room. It's such a melancholy and creepy place to be at, and it's super interesting to see how it looks. It is now time to go and face N, but we are going to be stopped by Getsus in the beginning. No, that Team Plasma needs. So he is fully prepared to do whatever it takes. And N seems like he is as well, so we can officially start this battle. This is going to be an insane fight. He is disappointed, but it's time to challenge him officially. And with that, he summons the dark Pokemon Zekrom, aka my favorite legendary Pokemon. He is the GOAT to me, and I am super happy that we at least get to see him a little bit. It's still, even to this day, a decade and a half later, awesome to see. But as he comes, something stirs inside of the Lightstone being released. And the Lightstone, of course, holding the white dragon, Reshiram. And now both halves of the dragons have been awoken. However, this one will not be caught by N, but rather us. It is now time to catch our final Pokemon of the playthrough and completely finish this whole playthrough. I'm super excited to catch Reshiram. Of course, like I said, Zekrom is my favorite, but I do love Reshiram so much. Reshiram is one of the GOATs. And we got Little Bug out, and Little Bug is here and ready. I think a few bug bites should be able to do it, because that'll get it way low. Yeah, and while I do believe in Little Bug to defeat Reshiram all by himself, I think just using the Master Ball is going to be the best in Vast White Pokemon. I do like the name Vast, and I'm going to be honest, I could not think of any other names for Reshiram, so we are going to continue with that name and name him Vast. Vast is now part of our team if we would like to, and yes, we are. And while I love you, Little Bug, it was nice to at least have you walk over here and hang out with us, but it is now time to officially start the fight. He's going to heal our Pokemon, which I appreciate. Luckily, we didn't really need to be healed, but still very nice to have. Team Plasma's N, aka the Champion N, is here. He's going to throw out his Zekrom. I will, of course, be starting out with Vest, the Reshiram, and it is time to face each other. Dragon's Breath is super helpful, if you guys don't know. That's like the perfect thing that you need to do. You don't get to really do too much with this Reshiram for the Zekrom fight, because if you don't, you're going to lose your Reshiram really fast. And honestly, Reshiram just isn't the best against the rest of his team, which kind of sucks. But that is all okay. And then we're going to switch to Muppet, because he does have Caracosta. Muppet is going to get hit with a pretty strong waterfall, and he is also going to for Restore. That does suck for us, and then another Brick Break should be able to kill it though after. I'm surprised he didn't full restore again. I would have assumed he would have done that, but he did not. Next up we have Kling Klang, which we have not actually seen in any other battles. We're going to go into our starter, of course, Jax. And Jax is going to Flamethrower it. And with that, we were able to one-shot. That is excellent. Maybe I did kind of get the Pokemon too high level. I'm going to be honest, I didn't see the level cap for the ending part. I thought they were going to be at the 55 levels. Sadly, it seems like they are not. But you know what? That's okay. They're in the 50s at least, and that doesn't really stop. Of course, we're not healing during this whole thing, so it's whatever. It is a thing that I just have to live with. If you guys say that this becomes a little bit null because of that, then that's okay completely. I understand that, but you know what? It's okay. It's just a Nuzlocke that has to do with Pokemon plushies, so if I don't get over it, and if you don't get over it, I don't know what to tell you. But next up we are going to have Vanillix. We're going to go back into Jax. I'm very happy that Jax gets to do some stuff in this battle, because it does feel like he doesn't really have that leadership role that Muppet does, and I think that he deserves a little bit better. We should be giving him a little bit more of the sunshine, so we are going to do that. And then we also got to show off Belmont, of course, so we are going to go into Belmont. And with that, we are going to just Metal Claw. I'm super happy that I brought him. The main reason I did bring him just for this whole thing was because of the Archeops and because of the Caracosta. I didn't need him for the Caracosta, but it would have been really nice if I did. And now we get to move on. N has been defeated, and he understands exactly where we're at now. And next, Getzes is going to approach us and insult his son, Eh? This is the confusing part that happens, and kind of the betrayal that happens. Getzes did not care about N's goals and N's thought process. He wanted his own personal goals to be done. It seems like now that N is no longer useful, he is going to discard him. Our poor boy N. I understand you, man. I understand why you were doing all this. But obviously, Getzes was the mastermind behind all of it, whether N knew that or not. And now we have to fight Getzes. First off, he's going to send off Caprigas. We do have Vast on our team, and we are are going to switch off just because Vast probably wouldn't be able to do too much against Cofagrigus. That's the hard part about this, which also is kind of the reason it does suck whenever he is up in front. We're going to go into Johnny C, but that Toxic is going to be very harmful. Protect is also going to be very harmful as well. He's going to protect twice, which I didn't even know you can do. I thought you could only protect once, and that's going to actually drain some more health a lot. But it's okay, because Johnny C at least survived a little bit of it. And we are going to try and crunch. Sadly, we did not take the full toxicity in effect. I thought we still had a little bit more. I thought it was going to be in red by the time it was time to actually switch out. That was on me. Johnny C, I am so sorry. He got fatality'd and I feel so bad. We can't worry about that right now because the biggest threat we're going to have, Hydreigon, is here. Hydreigon hits for a very powerful move. However, Dragon Breath is able to get the paralysis, which is well needed, because if it didn't and we lost fast, I honestly don't know what we would have done there. But thank God for that paralysis. That was a really lucky move on us. Next up in the battle is going to be Bouffalant, and with Bouffalant, we are going to bring out, of course, the MVP of this whole playthrough, Muppet. He did start to frighten me a little bit when we started losing some of that power. However, learning close combat really improved him, and I'm super happy with that, because now I know that if he can't one-shot something with Brick Break, at least he can with some of his other close combat moves. But wow, that is terrifying. Electros is out. That's another big one that I was definitely frightened about, because I believe even to this day, there's not really anything that can stop a Electros from actually destroying somebody's team and not having any weaknesses. And it looks like we are going to lose Belmont. Sadly, I didn't know what else I can do. At that point, there was just nothing that probably could be done. Somebody was probably going to have to get sacked off, and I think it was either going to be between Muppet, it was going to be between Jelly, or it was going to be in between for Belmont. With Belmont having the lowest health, I just thought it was the right choice to do. It sucks, but sadly, it had to be done. Next up, we're going to have a Seismitoad coming out as well. And now we're going to go into Jelly. We haven't used Jelly too often in this battle yet, but now it is time to try and do something with her. We are going to go for a Shadow Ball instead, and it does do a little chunk of health, not much though. We're going to have to hope that the Surf hits, which it does not. We're just going to have to go for another one, because like I said, there's not too many Pokemon that can handle badly a Seismitoad. And we luckily were able to survive, so that was awesome. And his final Pokemon, the one he killed, Bisharp. Man, he is terrifying. But we're going to go into Jax, and now Jax is going to be able to Heat Crash and Flamethrower his way to victory. It is awesome to see that the final Pokemon defeated is the one we get defeated by our starter. And I am super happy to say we have defeated Getsus, and we have beaten Pokemon Black. Getsus is now going to be taken by Sharon and Alder, and from that, me and N are going to have some time to talk and figure out what happens next. With just little pixels, you can see the disappointment on his face with the revelation about Getsus not being who he thought he was. It is such a sad thing to see, but still, it happens. I say it happens. I don't know how many times I've had a father figure end up being a bad villain guy who wants to rule over a whole area. But it's time for N to take his leave. And with that, Pokemon Black version has been finished. Thank you guys for watching. This has been a very fun series, whether you're watching just the finale part, whether or not you're watching this in the full movie. If you are watching the full movie, please let me know, that'd be awesome. But yeah, this has been an amazing journey. We started this a few months ago, and now we have made our way completely defeated Pokemon Black version. I don't know what I'm going to do next, whether it's going to be Black and White 2 for a plush lock, if y'all want to see that, if y'all even want to see the plush locks at all still. It's been fun, and I really enjoyed doing these kind of videos, and I want to start doing some more stuff that isn't just plush lock. I have some ideas that'd be really interesting, but I don't know, that we'll figure that out as we go through. I luckily have a little bit before I actually do my next part, but with N leaving on Zekrom, I think it's time to call it a day. Love you all, and hope you guys have a lovely rest of your day. Bye-bye. And like that, we have completed our Pokemon Black and White plush lock. Big thanks to everybody that actually stopped by and watched the full videos as they were releasing. You guys are the MVPs. I love you guys so much. If you guys were here since the Crystal plush lock, I appreciate y'all as well. And if you guys are newcomers, I am very happy you guys stopped by, even if just for this one video. If you guys enjoyed this type of content and want to see me potentially do Black and White 2, anything from Emerald, maybe even some of the 3D games, I would be super happy to try and make that happen. But until then, guys, this is going to be a long video to put together, so I'm going to probably call it a day after this. Much love, and I will see you guys for the next adventure. Bye-bye.